Hello, YouTube. We are back today, and I am talking about I think one of my deepest, darkest secrets of a topic today. And I've talked about this, of course, in my closed containers and such, but this is something that really needs to be talked about publicly. Oh, YouTube. Oops, let me pause that so we don't hear that. And the topic is how to overcome feelings of impending doom to 10x your life as a woman, and how to increase your appetite for fear and being able to take risks when we need to take risks in our life, right? I mean, if you really think about it, getting married, having babies, advancing in our career, starting a business, stopping a business, achieving next levels of wealth and investing and owning property. Everything requires overcoming fear. Everything requires increasing your appetite of risk. And some of us have these unique challenges based on our genetics, based on our trauma. And so I really want to dive deep into my own journey because what happens is when you've been watching someone or you're maybe just new to their world, like I think one of the things that happens on my platform is a lot of you guys are just joining my world, meaning you are now entering and in 2024 or 2025 my world and seeing me at a certain level of success. You're seeing me as someone that's like, maybe your story is, I mean, some of you guys know me, but maybe your story that you're internally making is that, oh, it's easy for me now, right? Like women at the top don't deal with this stuff. But the truth is, I want to share with you my story and my history today. And while talking about why, like the neuroscience of why we experience these impending feelings of doom and anxiety and fear, and why some people deal with this on such a big level that if you found out what we carry and what we deal with, you would be like, oh my God, I had no idea. Like my life is easy, okay, in comparison. So I'm going to open up my notes right here so that I don't miss anything. And I am going to share my own journey throughout this experience because I think especially when you are at a certain level of success, it is important to go back and share with people where you came from because in that story, they can find that deep resonance of like, oh, okay, well, Mina's also dealt with this and I can deal with this as well. Let me know for those of you guys, oops, if you're watching live, let me know in the chat. You can join the Level Up Queens membership to be able to access the group chat and other exclusive content as well. I would love for you to be a part of this journey. Adding sisterhood to the conversation, I think really helps us know that we're not the only ones, that everyone deals with this and there are ways to overcome this. Okay. So one of the reasons that if you are high achieving, driven, if you are creative, if you have big desires. And when I say high achieving, just reminding you, this doesn't mean you're like at your peak of success. If you are the type of person that has big goals and desires for yourself, and you're the kind of person that shows up ready and willing to learn and do the thing, you are more likely to have feelings of impending doom and more hyper vigilant to fear around you. And the reason for this is something we've been discussing a lot, and that's known as the hunter/huntress genome. So 10% of the human population, we've talked about this. You can learn more about this in the Frequency of Certainty Masterclass, which is like a $22 class if you want to know more. 10% of the human population has still the hunter's gene. And we never evolved out of and adapted into the farming world that we now live in. And because of this, our genome, our like nervous system, everything is coded for hunting. And hunting is very risky, as you can imagine. In the hunter-gatherer days, life was really hard. And there was always fear around the corner. There was fear about, running out of food. There was fear about being attacked by neighboring tribes. There was fear about our tribes getting diseases and losing our children. It's guesstimated most people lost half of their offspring at this time. there was so much doom around us, like actual doom. And so those of us that still have that 10% of that genome, we have a more hyper vigilance around doom, around bad things happening, around fear. And not that the 90% don't experience fear, they do. They experience a lot of fear when it comes to change. However, we have bigger goals often than normal people, right? We have bigger desires. And so more is on the stake for us to overcome this. If they don't overcome this, it's not that big of a deal when you don't have big plans for your life, right? Like if you don't want to do big things in your life, if you just want a safe job, have like everything be a certain level, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I have family members like that, and much respect, much respect. Thank God for those people that we can collaborate with, right? But we are not like that. We want more. We want bigger. There's always something else that we want to unlock. And so for us, the stakes are higher. We're the innovators, we're the visionaries, we're the people that society counts on to go bigger. And because of that, we will have to work with this feeling of something's going to go wrong, this impending doom, this low level anxiety, this low level like fear that's always functioning behind the scene. And the reason that this is such a good time for me to do this is because I've been doing this level of inner work for 2 decades now. But recently, there's been this really deeper layer of healing that part of me that doesn't go into like the what I call it the impending doom spiral. In 2024, there was like deeper work that I was led to that I did. And I feel so much more confident in leading other women through this. And of course, I've done this at every level through my journey with women all over the world. But at this level, I feel that I'm more able to hold space, right? Like even deeper. Let me see what you guys are saying. Hi, Lulu. Hi, AJ. Chris. Sydney said, Mina, I can't express how much gratitude I feel for you and what you've created. Every time these big revelations come up, suddenly you are going live and speaking on the same themes. Oh, I love this. We're all connected through the morphogenetic field, Sydney. I feel you. I'm holding you to your next level. Okay, so what is the neuroscience behind this feeling of impending doom? So here's what I want you to understand. First of all, 10% of us, and if you resonate with my content, if you have big goals and desires, you are probably with you have that genome. You are what I would call a huntress. You have the coding of the alpha gene. You are someone that's here to be a visionary, a creative. You're here to be a rock star. You're here to be like the next level innovator. You are the next Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and Oprah's and Beyonce's, and you are it. And because of that, you will experience more of this. And here's an exercise that will help you see this. Think of your nervous system as this circle around your body. Okay? Whatever that circle is right now, this bubble, that's what you're calibrated towards. That means that that's what you're, I like these buttons. So I'm going to put my hair on the other side today so I can share those buttons. So that's like your safe zone. Okay. And if you're a woman like me and you have big dreams, big desires, you're always learning, you're into personal development, you're into alchemy, you're into personal mastery, you get to this level for a while where you're in this safe bubble. And you're like, yeah, I've overcome a lot. I did a lot. I've achieved a lot. I have this new level of depth and mastery. And you sit there for a while. And then the next thing starts pinging you. And then you have this other desire and like, ooh, I want to do this other thing. And as soon as you start moving towards this other thing, fear shows up. These feelings of like impending doom, like something's going to go wrong. The other shoe is going to drop. But if I do this, I'll lose what I've already built. Like, can I just be happy? Can I just be content? Like, look at everyone around me. They're just happy with the little bit they have. I already have more than them. Why do I have to like want more? All of this like fear and anxiety and all this stuff will come up. But here's what I'm here to tell you. And I want you to hear this, like come closer to me, okay? Here, I'll come closer to you. This is a good sign. Fear is a good sign. This is a sign that you're moving towards something new, something big. This is a sign that you've hit your edge. Because here's the thing, do you want to just like stay within the confines of this imaginary fence? Like we've all heard those stories of those like those if you put there's a famous one that I keep pops up on Instagram now and again of the little elephant, baby elephant that was unfortunately like put in this cage and it was like tied, right? And it could only go into the certain radius. And then it was released. This is a true story. It was released from that prison or cage or whatever. And it was put in this like safe place that resembled its like natural habitat, but it was like for people like animals that have been kind of abused, right? And the thing is, it became an adult and it didn't have that rope, but it would only walk around that radius. Like I have chills, like I want to cry just even thinking about that, that even though that barrier was released, it no longer had that rope. It refused to walk outside of that radius. That's how most people are functioning. That's how most people are functioning. They refuse to walk outside of that barrier. And I'm gonna feel emotional. I have this rule with myself that I try not to do live streams when I'm like about to get my period. I'm about to get my period because I get very emotional. And I wanted to record this video for you guys because every Sunday and Wednesday I put a video at 11 Central Time. And I was like, I cannot drop such an emotional topic, impending doom, right? In like a recorded video. And so I was like, I'm just gonna break my own like whatever. Like I'm a rebel anyways. I'm like, just show up, Mina. I know I'm gonna be super emotional talking about this because let me just tell you, fear has had such a chokehold on my life, my entire life. I was in this session last year with one of my own mentors and they put me like deep into like subconscious work, the work that I'm doing with you guys in Kainat. And they asked me, I was asked, what's one thing that you wish everyone knew about you? Oh my God, I'm gonna be emotional saying this, but whew, I think just telling you will help you so much. And the thing that came up for me as I'm like deep in my subconscious was most people have no clue how much fear has ruled my life and how I did everything that I did and I have created everything that I've created with so much fear that most people can't even relate. Like most people have no idea how I did it with so much fear. And I remember when I was talking about this in my session, my back started hurting. It was like someone was like pressuring down. It was literally like my entire life, I have been crushed with this fear. First of all, I have the huntress genome. So this is just a byproduct of that genome. And the second reason is, you guys know, trigger warning, you've heard me talk about this in Lady Balls and other places. My first memories as a child was being molested. My entire childhood was this roller coaster of confusion and sexual abuse and being uprooted all the time. I had 30 addresses by the time I was a teenager. I never had any place I could call home. There was homelessness, there was food insecurity at times. There was bullying at school. There was inconsistent parenting, right? Not blaming my parents. I have so much respect and just reverence for their journey being immigrants. I cannot imagine. There's rape in my background, like so much, so much. And yet, God gave me this big heart with big desires. And I've had to choose. I've had to choose. I'm like, God, like, why would you give me so much trauma? And then why would you give me such a big heart? Why would you give me so many desires to make something of myself, to have a family, to have the kind of love most people can't even imagine, to have the kind of family that is so healthy and happy and feels so connected and so emotionally intelligent, to have a career where I feel alive, to have the kind of clients that feel like soulmate friends. Like I imagine all of us before we incarnate saying, hey, let's like do this life together. Let's do this round together. Okay, I'll manifest as your client and then we'll do this together and we'll create this together. Like I've done all of that. If you knew how afraid I was when I walked on that journey, I don't even know I have words to explain it to you. I don't think I have words. People think, here's the big secret. People think, and they see me as this big powerhouse, which I'm so blessed to have amounted this much respect and reputation and name and power in this lifetime. Like God has blessed me. I'm the author of the book Lady Balls after all, right? But if you knew how tender my heart is, if you knew how many sleepless nights I've had of fear, if you knew the feelings of impending doom that I've had to overcome, if you knew the panic attacks and the anxieties that I've had to overcome, you would be able to take over the world. Because let me tell you, don't ever think that it was easier for me. Don't ever think that, you can't do it because I look so powerful now because I might be ahead of you in the journey. But girl, if you knew how I walk this walk, you would be able to take over the planet. You'd be over whatever your goals are, you would be able to do it. And maybe I haven't talked about this enough. And maybe this is the start of a deeper conversation, but I have done every single step that I've taken. I've done it afraid. I've done it with so much fear. And of course, throughout that process, I've pushed that imaginary cage. I've pushed that imaginary rope. I've, you know, crushed through those imaginary confines. But let me tell you, it has been one of the hardest things ever because God put this wise soul in this deeply traumatized body. And then it said, go. And the soul had these big dreams, and the soul wanted to have a healthy family and heal and break generational trauma. And the soul wanted to do something for 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. And in every direction, it wanted to heal the planet. But the body was full of so much trauma. And being able to do the things that I've done with this traumatized body has been one of the deepest pains of my life that I don't think most people realize. And maybe I haven't talked about it enough because my thing has always been to bring positivity to help people, right? And I've realized now in this next level of leadership that I've unlocked that talking about how I did it afraid is the next level of leadership. This is it. I'm so glad that my children and my family, my husband, my friends have seen it. They've seen me cry through the biggest heartbreaks. They've seen me like go through the anxiety and the panic attacks and all of that and then heal through it. And then the things that used to put me in panic years ago, they've seen that it doesn't anymore. The things that they even had to tiptoe around me that don't bring this up around mom, like this is a trigger for her. They see that that's not a big deal. They've seen me push that imaginary cage bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and still show up. And every day when I wake up to messages from women from all over the world of all age groups and all nationalities and all backgrounds, and they say, Mina, you inspire me so much because of you. I overcame my fear of getting married. Because of you, I overcame my fear of having children. Because of you, I overcame my fear of public speaking, or I walked on stage today. I launched my business. I stood up to my abuser. I walked away from a toxic relationship. Whatever the thing is, like I look back at my journey and I tell God I wouldn't change a thing. And my children tell me all the time that they're so proud of me. They know my story, they know my journey, they've seen it. I never hid anything from them. They know how like My children know me as the scaredy cat, as the chicken, as the thing that has the person that has the most tender, soft heart. And they also know me as this multi-passionate powerhouse as a woman that can overcome anything. Imagine having a mother that has that range where you see that, where you see all of it, where you see her crying because someone's threatening her. You see her go into that feeling of impending doom. And then you see her move through that emotion. And then you see her journaling. And then you see her getting support through mentors and coaches and talking to friends and talking to them and regulating and co-regulating and upregulating. And then you show that they see you showing back up, standing back up. And they see you as what used to trigger you last year, water off a duck's back. Like, not a big deal. This has been one of the craziest roller coaster of a ride as a human being. Like, oh, God was like, yeah, let's put you in a roller coaster. Let's give you all the things, but this is what you're gonna have to transcend. And I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. Let me see what you guys are saying. Thank you for sharing this. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Ella. So nice to have you in the Love Love Queens. Me too, Mina. First memories and same history or trauma. So much overlap in our stories. You give me so much hope and inspiration. Thank you, Ella. Andrea said, Mina, always grateful for you helping us remember. Thank you for deciding that you would remember who you are. So much reverence for your tenderness and your power. Thank you, Andrea. Ella said, I love that you're always chosen to center your teachings around abundance and what you're creating. Very rarely touching on trauma, but you're right. It is helpful for us to hear how you moved. I'd like to go back and talk about that. Here's the thing. If I'm always talking about trauma, you attract people that only want to talk about that, right? But when you see someone like me that has had all that, right? I'm not denying that. I'm not spiritually bypassing it. I'm also not identifying with it. It's not my identity. It's just an experience that I had in this lifetime, a very small timeline of an experience. It's not who I am. It does not define me. The reason that I do choose to share it, because my friends have questioned this, like, this is so painful for you to go back, or like, why do you like still share it? Because there's a lot of people that enter my world now and they have no idea what I've overcome. And they think, okay, well, I'm really, moved by Mina's journey and what she has accomplished now, but I possibly can't do it because I have da 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 da, right? Because I had this kind of childhood. I had this. And you'd be surprised how many people still don't even know my whole story because they're still like some people are coming in and out. Some of you guys have been with me for 14 years on YouTube. You know everything about me. You know my rising sign and my moon sign and my sun sign, right? But some people don't. And they think that I'm just an outlier that just doesn't experience fear. I've done every single thing with crippling fear, with crippling fear. My why is so strong. My why is 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. You think fear is going to get a hold on me with that kind of a why? No. No, absolutely not. Let me go back to my notes. I had some other things I want to say. So, what is impending doom? It's this sinking sense that something bad is about to happen or will happen, and there's no logical reason for it. It's rooted in the brain's like protective mechanisms. Okay, so it's often a sign that your nervous system is hitting its capacity, that imaginary wall that we're talking about, that container, right, into unfamiliar high stakes situations. Okay, so basically what happens is, again, that bubble that you have around you, you're hitting up against it, you're moving past it to activate the next 10x. And so your nervous system starts this sounding this alarm. Says, hey, You better not stay back. Come back over here. Come back inside the cage. Because if you go beyond this, bad things might happen. Okay? Bad things might happen to you. They might happen to your family. And a lot of, especially us spiritual women, when we're dysregulated, when we're dysregulation, really, if you think about it, means you're right now, your communications with the divine, your communication with God, that umbilical cord has weakened. It's still connected, but you can't feel it because you're in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right? And so when that happens, you start second guessing yourself and you start saying, oh, maybe this is my intuition. Because here's the thing you need to learn. Whatever you're learning, whatever you're growing, whatever you're evolving towards, your ego is also watching. The opponent, whether you are religious and call it the devil, or you're spiritual and call it the ego, right? Like whatever you call it, whatever it is, the thing, the opposing force, the duality, the thing putting the force against the thing that you're moving towards, you're going to start saying, oh, it's my intuition. It's not your intuition. It's your fear. It's the opponent. It's the devil. It's the ego. It's your lower self. Whatever name you want to give it, it will show up. And you have to be prepared, right? Like what used to be my edge even 6 months ago, even last week, is no longer my edge because I move at the speed of light. Because I have so much momentum now in my life doing this inner work for so long, right? Moving with this impending doom, moving with this fear, constantly increasing my appetite for risk and fear, becoming more resilient. And so every time I've pushed past it, the level has changed, the game has changed, but it's just going to get stronger. I talked about in Money, Money, Come to Me, Play Shop that as you get stronger, so does the opponent. It's always a worthy game. It's always a worthy play. It's going to be sneakier. It's going to show up as tricking you into thinking, okay, maybe I should just stop here. Maybe more isn't better, even though you know that you did not come here to play small. You did not come here to get this far and then stop. Started my deep inner work, and my whole old life has fallen apart, lost all family, and have deja vu almost every day. What does this mean? This means you're expanding beyond what was comfortable back then in the small life. That's all it means. It means you're pushing towards that edge. You're pushing past it. And sometimes we have to be in the void for a while. That means the new reality hasn't shown up yet. You're in that void where the new container hasn't showed up, the old one is falling apart, and you're in this really uncomfortable space where you don't know what's going to happen. And my heart goes out to you, and I'm celebrating you because this is a good thing. It sounds painful. I've lost friends over the years. I've lost family members. Some of them came back. Some were replaced by other more highly aligned people, high level people that matched my new level. And it's all okay. People that get to grow with me, thank you. People that fall away, thank you. People that come back, thank you. New people that come in, thank you. It's all a part of this journey. Okay. So another thing that happens as we're expanding our container is that your brain constantly predicts outcomes based on past experiences. So if in the past big moves were followed by criticism, exhaustion, failure, your brain might associate boldness with danger. Okay. So I had a childhood where I was constantly criticized. I was publicly shamed a lot in my childhood. So when I started growing on my YouTube channel and I would get negative comments, it's like, 14 years ago, 13 years ago, 12 years ago, I would freeze. I would freak out. I would sabotage my growth. And so I had to make a decision. I'm like, oh, okay, my old like prediction mechanism is stepping in. Do I want to just stay here? Is this it for me? Or am I going to expand beyond this? And I chose every single time to expand beyond it. So sometimes that system that was hurt, like a lot of women that come into my world, driven, high achieving, alpha huntress women creating big things, maybe in the past, the way they were doing things burned them out. And so they come into my world and we do all of this healing work. We heal their body, we update their container. Well, now when they're, we infuse that femininity, that restfulness, all of that. Now they want to go to the next level. The fear might show up. Oh, but what? But I burned out before, Mina. Yeah, but you're not going to burn out now. Why? Because your threshold has changed. Your capacity has changed. What you know now makes you a completely different person. So what burned you out before, you have that for breakfast. Okay? No, that's not going to burn you out because it's not what you were doing, it's who you were being when you were doing it. And you can't be that now if you tried because you have changed. And all of a sudden, they skyrocket in their relationships, they skyrocket in their wealth because they have a complete different level of movement and trust. And until again, they're ready for the new edge. So the new edges will show up because we are not part of the 90% that just wants to get to base level safety and park themselves there and safely die. And there's nothing wrong with that. I say that with so much love. That's not who we are. That's not who I am. I don't want to get to say base level safety and then wait safely to die safely. That's not why God put me on this planet. God put me on this planet to be an example of womanhood and leadership and motherhood and wifehood and femininity and masculinity and million dollar babe and be all the things, all the range, all the flavors. So of course I'm going to hit new edges. I must, because if I stop growing, how am I supposed to show my children how to go to the next level beyond their edge? How am I supposed to be a leader to the top leaders in the world? How am I supposed to walk shoulder to shoulder with the women creating history right now? With the women literally creating history right now. It's not what you were doing, it's who you were being. 1000%. 1000. Elma said the same thing. She said, it's not who you were doing, it's who you were being. Yes, ma'am. That's why what I do now, 10 years ago, girl, I couldn't hold like 10% of what I hold now without burning out, without manifesting illnesses, without my nervous system going completely haywire. Not even 10% 10 years ago, what I hold today. And now, today, I hold that same thing that would have sent me like 90% more, right? 10x of that with like ease, with relaxation. People have this really twisted thing that they think relaxation is an activity, it's a state. It's a state. But you must push those edges of fear. You must be willing to expand your appetite for fear and risk. When clients show up in my container and they're, still afraid of, oh, what if I get a negative comment? I'm like, girl, if that's your fear tolerance, if that's your appetite, then don't have your eyes on my results. Because if that's the thing that's going to scare you, that's fine. I respect where you're at, but take your eyes off my results. Because if you want my results, you're going to have to increase your tolerance for fear and for risk. Because the type of moves that I make, like they would send most people shivering and shaking, most men even. And we already know that the male nervous system is denser than the female nervous system. They have a very different relationship with fear. And the moves that I make, most men would be afraid of those moves. So if you want someone else's results, you need to be able to hold that level of fear in your body and move beyond it. You need to be able to move through resistance at their speed. That's the work right there. That's going to be the thing. raise my appetite for fear and risk. Girl, yes, that's what you're gonna have to do. Otherwise, people will they will infect you with their fears. Because like I've said, 90% of the people are afraid of anything remotely different or new. They just want to get to base level comfort and park themselves there and comfortably die one day. And those are the people that are going to be scaring you. And if you can't hold that, if you can't move beyond that, good luck. Good luck. Because that's what this world is going to be doing. Most of the content is about that. Most of the books are written about that. Most of the limiting beliefs that people have around you are about just stay safe, don't go too far. Andrea said, this is goddess warrior energy. Ooh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm so glad this is resonating. Let me check my so we talked about why high achieving driven feminine women are more likely to feel this, the huntress genome. We talked about how this is a good sign and we need to expand beyond it. Practical strategies to walk through, because I sent you this in my newsletter today, what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to make sure I hit this. Okay. So let's talk about practical strategies. So I have a couple of things that I've done. One, recognizing that this is a good thing and that it's paralyzing me, but it's a good thing because I've hit an edge. So if someone can put that in the chat for us, number one, recognizing that this is a good thing and I've hit an edge. That was number one. And our Zoom AI, if you can memorize that as well and put it in the show notes for people. I'll send you guys in an email, like the show notes, the workbook version of this, if you guys are on my email list. If not, it's in the description box. Number two is regulate myself. And now, of course, like I have deeper embodiment practices and regulating techniques, which I've taught you guys in my 3-week nervous system reboot, but I didn't always have that. And so in the beginning, when I didn't have all of this work, what I would do is just take a deep breath, and find someone to talk to that this is the co-regulation part, that knew my power, that knew me when I wasn't afraid. And, when my mom was alive, this was Sheena. Sheena always had her way to infuse you with her power. Okay, I threw the link for nervous system reboot in the chat. You can use those techniques and just kind of taking a deep breath and just like coming to center. The other thing I would do, which I've talked about in my Lady Balls book, is I would separate actual problems to imaginary problems, because when we're experiencing feelings of fear and impending doom, our brain can sometimes go into this response, this internal like alarm system, where it can't tell the difference between real problems that you have control over, that you can actually solve right now, versus imaginary problems. So I would separate them. I would say, okay, I can't solve that because that actually hasn't happened yet. And that hasn't happened yet either. Can't solve that. Can't solve something that hasn't happened. This thing, okay, I can do something about this thing. What am I going to do about this thing? And this was life-changing, because here's what I've learned now looking back, that 99% of the problems that I thought I would happen, like that impending doom things, didn't happen. They were imaginary. The 1% that did happen, when they did happen, they weren't that big of a problem at the level of consciousness that I was in then. Or I had the resources, energetic, spiritual, emotional, financial resources to take care of it. So what I've learned is that there's no point in trying to solve imaginary problems right now, because if and when they do happen, I'm going to be a completely different person. Like, let me give you like a really just simple example. When I was in my early 30s, I would like lay in bed awake worrying about like my kids like college tuition and had no idea that by the time my kids needed money for college, we would be deca millionaires. Like, do you just see that, right? Or the fact that they might be so advanced that they get scholarships. So, in that level of consciousness in my early 30s, I didn't know what would happen. And so, my level of solving that problem would have been so different. Like, I would be laying there saying, maybe I shouldn't have become a stay-at-home mom because now we're just on one income. And is Irfan going to be able to do all of this and that? But like, the situation completely changed. By the time that problem was actually a problem, it wasn't. I have like a million and one examples of this where it made no sense to sit there and try to solve that problem. That's why in my group coaching containers, I like even in Wifed, we just started Wifed. Today is the last day, by the way, to sign up for that. After that, it's only going to be through Kainat. So for those of you guys that have your approval letter already, today is the last day. I in the pre-work, I already told everyone this is not where you come to get all your questions answered. I will not be answering all your questions. That's not why you paid me. I will be giving you such a rapid transformation that you'll be laughing at the questions you were asking yesterday. They will be funny to you. That's rapid transformation, not wasting our entire life trying to solve imaginary questions because those are not even real. They're just, it's a fail, like it's an impending doom mechanism that asks like ridiculous questions that seem really real to the nervous system that won't even be an issue for you later. Let me see what you guys are saying. Mina, there is a new movie, Mrs., in which women is seen disrespected by husband and family. This is a story. Um, any other questions about what we're talking about and how the woman could have? Yeah, I haven't seen that movie, so I can't comment on that right now. Questions about what we're talking about, insights. Tomorrow, by the way, guys, I just sent out the email for 99 Realm. There's a bonus class in 99 Realm called Multi-Passionate Powerhouse that's happening. Also, the theme for March in 99 Realm is going to be courage. Courage at this level, courage at big level. So that's happening. What else do we have going on today? Ooh, the Wifed Telegram Sisterhood portal has been activated. I'm going to send out the email right after this live for you guys to join. If you go in the Wifed dashboard, you can find the Telegram link, but I'll email it out to you guys as well. All right, I'll stay and see if you guys have any questions. Yes, you taught us that first trauma is not our identity. It was only an experience. We needed to encode this belief. Otherwise, trauma would cripple us from ever attempting success. Absolutely. Julia said, this is opening my heart. Yeah, the Telegram group is ready. Can the huntress evolve into the alpha? The huntress is just my word for the alpha, Crystal. I have a whole course with that name in Kainat. I just prefer that name a little bit. I so resonate with the word alpha too. I love that word. I've always just like, I find it so delicious. But I wanted to give it like my own twist. So I love huntress. I love lioness. I love all of those words just really deeply resonate with me. So I'm going to open up the chat to everyone just for a few moments. Questions about what we're talking about, questions about what's coming up in Wifed and Kainat in 99 Realm. Our theme in 99 Realm this month was the three core divine feminine flavors, but I which we had a lot of fun with. We already did that, and I wanted to also do a bonus in for multi-passionate, multi-talented women. Okay, let's see. That should open it up. I've been experiencing some of this fear because I'm rotational dating, so many things coming up. And um, Queen, you're in Wifed, correct? I don't know if I'm confusing your username with another person that we have in there or if it's the same one, but let me know because we are going to be working so deeply. Even what we did in the first session when we were doing the power. Yes. Okay, Queen. Awesome. Yes. So buckle up. The ride that we're about to take in Wifed, as you saw in the first lesson, is this is buckle up. Sapphire, I'm not sure I understand your question. So fear is transcended through capacity, not decision, right? Well, I make the decision to expand my capacity and then expand my capacity. So I don't see why it would negate one another, if that makes sense. So to me, it's like, yeah, I decide that this is just a capacity thing, and then I do the things necessary to expand my capacity. Andrea said the perfect mindset to start the week. All of the most recent courses are so in alignment with what the feminine is collectively. Um, I think I think it got cut off, but yeah, yes, the empowered femininity, right? That integrated, braided femininity. If we join 99% realm, do we have access to previous month content, which we missed? Yes. If you go to the sales page, you will see every single module that is in there. You can, like, there is a way to see it. Yeah, Queen. You said I'm in a wife. Kayla said, I'm moving afraid in this season of my life now, building a business and making money moves like finding a home. This is so on time. Kayla, I'm celebrating you so big. This is the way to do it. Can I tell you something? I'm also moving afraid. But my afraid looks different now than it did last year. My afraid looks different now than it did 2 years ago. My afraid looks different now than it even did last week. There's always going to be afraid because especially for women like us. For some people they get to a base level and then they never put themselves in a situation that where they will feel afraid because they don't want to do that. They just want to stay there, which is fine. That's not us. So for us, make friends with moving afraid. Make friends with taking risks. Everything is risky to your nervous system, right? At every level, there's new levels of risk. Hi, Mina, you inspire me so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sydney said, I realize I have a belief that says I can't have both family and a fulfilling career. This is so encoded in the collective feminine realm right now for women. Yes, that's why I'm like, we have to talk about this all the time. That's why I'm like, I have to keep showing up because they need to be able to see that I do both and so much more, and I get to have even more. Career, he age just chose one. I experienced this has making progress as one and then struggling in the other. Yep, this is the season of your growth is to be able to hold both. First, you have to believe that you get to have both. Is it true that some women can't handle both because they do not have the capacity currently to hold both? Correct. Correct. Is it true that I, Mina Irfan, at some point in my journey could not hold both? Correct. That is true. What does that have to do with now? Nothing. Nothing. Okay. Because now I can hold everything. I can hold glamour. I can hold money. I can hold family, romance, friendships, community, leadership. Like, I don't know what God has in store for me for next week or next month, but whatever it is, I'll expand the capacity. That's my promise that I've made with God. God, whatever it is, I will expand the capacity. Whatever you want me to have, I will expand the capacity. Mina, love your work. For who do you recommend the nervous system reboot? I would recommend it for anyone that feels like there's more capacity expansion for you. You feel like you get to a certain level, and then there's either a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, and you hold yourself back. Um, if you are at the top of your game, you need to be doing that shit daily. We think that beginner level people need to be doing that work daily. No, no, no. Okay. Because when you are in a position of leadership and power, the way that I am, where I've got my children looking up to me, I've got my friends and family looking up to me, I've got my clients and students looking up to me, I've got YouTube looking up to me, I've got Instagram. I do that. I'm not playing with my leadership. I'm not playing with my capacity. I'm not playing with how I show up today. And so that is my daily thing that I have to be able to fill the capacity, move the capacity, extend the capacity. Let me see. Oh my God, the other day I had the nudge to revisit the course. What's gonna happen, Andrea, for you as you retake it is, you know, the library of resources, you try them out. You will find that there's gonna be some that are your favorite. Let them be your go-to for the time. So when I first learned this work, there were some that were my favorite for a season of time. Then I would move on to other practices. Then those were my go-to. That's what I needed at the moment. And then I would outgrow those and move to different. That's why I gave you so many options, because I know some of you guys will hate some and love others in this season of life. So every so often, play with the other ones. Average view duration 11:11. Like you literally can't even make this up right now. I'm looking at the back end. Let me see if I can take a picture of this. This is what I'm looking at. Do you see that? Like God's just like sending me clues all the time and like sending me messages and flirting with me like all the time. I'm like, okay, just looking at that. Okay, I'm stepping through that door, that 11:11 portal. Let's see. Okay, so I'm seeing some questions about people, okay? Other people. So here's my insight. I'm not going to answer that, but I'll tell you, I'll say something that might calibrate you out of this. And by the way, you're not wrong for asking these kind of questions, but I really want to share this insight that I've had. So I'll read the question first. The question is, out of curiosity, I remember your insight on welcoming difficulty. Would you advise to remove toxic or violent people from your life as growing? Okay. So any questions related to other people? Here's an insight that I've had. So I noticed that in Kainat, and other like high level like communities that I've had, masterminds, communities, group coaching that I've run and also that I've been a part of, I noticed this really interesting pattern that these women that were in there, whether they were my students or whether they were, you know, students along with me, they never asked questions. Oops, did I lose the stream? I think I lost the stream. I'll give it a second for to pop back up. I think I'm back in. Oh my God, yes, you're right. It does say 222 in the chat as well. Okay, I'm back. So let me repeat that. I don't know where it cut off. I've noticed this pattern that women in Gynae and other like high level containers that I've run and containers that I've been a part of, these are like high level women. What do I mean by high level women? These are women that are moving through big moves, making audacious moves in their life. These are women that are holding single motherhood and launching their businesses. These are women dealing with really like big things while also holding duality. The pattern that I noticed was they never ask questions about other people. Never. They don't ask questions about toxic people. They don't ask questions about, that person's so annoying, should I cut them off? And I started noticing this pattern. And I was like, that's so interesting. The questions are so different. And because I experienced this both as a student of high level masterminds and groups and also as a leader of high level masterminds and groups, it really stuck out to me. And I started journaling on this and contemplating on this. And what I noticed was what came up is that about 10 years ago, all of my problems, most of my problems, I would say probably all of them, revolved around other people. And if at that time, thankfully, I was in no position to be a coach or anything like that. So I didn't have this practice, thankfully. I, if I was in other people's containers, all my questions would be dealing with people. And now I don't even think about that. It just doesn't even come in my consciousness. And again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just start noticing these really weird patterns, and I'm very curious. And I love studying human nature and human behavior and consciousness and growth and rapid transformation. So do what you will with that information. But I have noticed that high level women, and when I say high level, it's not that they're rich, it's not just about money, it's conscious women, women doing deep inner work. And it's not that these women aren't dealing with stuff. Like in some of the masterminds that I'm in, women are dealing with like infidelity, the loss of a child, illnesses like cancer, and I mean, just like gut wrenching, heartbreaking things. And they never ask about other people. So it reminds me about this quote that I believe Tony Robbins has, and I don't remember the exact quote, but my husband and my son went through this whole period of studying Tony Robbins. And so I remember hearing this that the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your questions. What would happen to your life if other people weren't your problem? If you stopped asking questions? I don't know what would happen for you, but I know for me, the 10-year ago Mina, whose all of my problems were related to other people, I made these micro tweaks and I stopped having people as problems. People are not my problem. So with high level women like us, it's always our own internal blocks and capacity and duality that we're holding and expanding. Other people, people are not a problem for us. They're not a problem. But in the lower level groups, it's always everything about other people. Toxic people, people breaking our boundaries, people, friends, mom, people, dates, people. And what if there's a level of like density to that? Like you're at the most bottom plane where people are just your problem. You're just held back by people. And I give you so much love, like so much love. I remember what that was like. Like I would go to a party and one person would say this one thing and 18 months of my life would be consumed by that. People were my biggest roadblock 10 years ago. And now it's a whole different level. Now my own internal capacity and the duality of life and how much more space can I hold for my family How much more joy and love can I hold? How much more leadership can I hold? How can I be even a bigger and better and bolder example of femininity and womanhood and the huntress genome and having it all? That's the internal stuff that I'm working towards. People, they're not a problem. They're not a problem. Yeah? Let people go. And when I say let people go, if you're in that density, you think, okay, we're going to fight people or we're going to ignore people. Do you know how much consciousness is held in ignoring someone? When I stopped ignoring people, oh my God, I had so much more energy. Ignoring people takes the most energy. It's not about, okay, I'm just going to cut people off. No. What if people weren't a problem for your life? What if people were just people? What if the problem was our own expansion, the capacity, the game we get to play on this earth plane, in this time space that we're in? What is the game that God has thrown you? What level are you playing in right now? Get out of the people level. I'm like, I don't even answer questions like that anymore. Like, that is not a good use of my expertise, my level, my heart, my leadership. There are other people that can help you. Label everyone as a narcissist and everyone as a toxic. There's whole books written about it. There's, YouTube channels where everyone's just toxic and narcissist. And I send them so much love. But can we get above that? I'm calling you higher, babe. Can we just like make a pact that people are not a problem for us? Can we allow ourselves to rise to a level of leadership and femininity that the planet has never seen? I'm inviting you so much higher, so much higher, so much bigger. This is so powerful. And so, with so much love, with so much empathy and compassion, I'm making the strong declaration that I will not be answering questions about how people are a problem in your life. I will not be answering those questions anymore. I'm releasing all of us from that. Because as you invite us to the density, I'm inviting you up here. And this doesn't mean you have to spiritually bypass. Like, I get it. I was there 10 years ago. That's why I created my basic babe bundle. That's the work that got me out of it. I put that work in there for you. It's there. Go take it. Go do what you want to do with it. I have courses for you. However, can we allow the conversations to go higher? Here's what happens in Kainat, in places like Kainat, where people are not asking these kind of questions. We're talking about healing. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about big money in the hands of women. We're talking about next level leadership. And because there's no one constantly pulling us down to the lower density of conversation, we are able to fly high and really have the conversations that it's high time women have. We're finally at the table, babe. We're at the table. So, respectfully, with so much love and reverence, I'm not going to be coming to the child's table. And I respect that that's where you're at. I remember the Mina 10 years ago that was at that table. And I send that version of me and I send that version of you so much love. Go and take the basic babe bundle. I invite you into that portal. Let yourself walk through that and then let people not be a problem in your life anymore. Thank you, Middle and Hammer. She said, bravo. Thank you. The way all of the noise just disappeared when I realized that it's just me and God. After that, just moving myself out of the way. That's it, Tessa. That's it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Mina, I've been doing carnivore this week and I lost 5 pounds. Congrats, gorgeous. Celebrating you. Love it. I bet you feel more energetic as well. That first week can be hard with the energy, but if you want to add a little bit of cold butter, that can give you the energy boost that previously carbs would give you. So, yeah, just a little trick. This is so empowering and an energy saver. Love it, Lulu. Yes. So, ladies, I am inviting you into the nervous system reboot. See if that calls out to you. Or 99 Realm, join us in the sisterhood. Join us for those monthly transmissions and all of the juiciness and all the flavors of femininity, right? Not about posturing, not about putting on masks, real empowered femininity where we get to be all the things. No posturing. No, I can only do this and I can only be this way. The real leadership stuff, the high level stuff, you're ready. I invite you in there. And for those of you guys that are like, just, I want to skip through the line and have it all, I invite you into Kainat. Flirt with the application, see how it feels, and I'll see you in all the places. I love you so much. I'm going to go downstairs, have a delicious brunch with my family. Happy Sunday. Love you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.